I think Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, like particularly the last one, are some of the most interesting movies ever made. They're like these weird, complex art films like fucking Tarkovsky or Franju, but they're like the epic pop culture version of that. I'll explain. Okay, let's start with Batman Begins. So the key moment in that film is a conversation between Bruce Wayne and Alfred, in which Bruce says,
"As a man, I'm flesh and blood. I can be ignored. I can be destroyed. But as a symbol, I can be incorruptible. I can be everlasting."
So this one line is actually the answer to a question. How do you place a superhero in the real world? Well, the answer is, you don't. Those guys running around in homemade costumes and getting beaten up by crack dealers are the closest thing we have, and they're fucking embarrassing. Like, superheroes do not work in the real world, so it has to be more than a man in a costume taking on every criminal in a big city. And then The Dark Knight is about the dangers of using a symbol as a shield. The Joker takes that line from the first film as a direct challenge. He says things like,
"They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you, when the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other."
The most important part of that film, and it kind of gets lost when you're watching it, but it's the moment when Batman kills Harvey Dent. This is huge. Batman never kills anyone, but the Joker makes him do it. The Joker effectively wins. So it's this superhero film where the hero becomes a murderer and the bad guy wins. So Bruce Wayne's problem in The Dark Knight Rises is, how do you resurrect a symbol that has been irreversibly corrupted? He figures out you have to kill the man that represents that symbol. So Batman has to die. Do you remember the part where Batman dies? With Bane in the sewer? They had that big fight and Bane says,
"Ah ha ha! I fucking killed you!" "Well, no. I'm gonna kill you fucking later, right? I mean, I've crippled you, aye, I've fucking crippled you. But I've not killed you yet. Like, I'm gonna do it later. Fucking right, come on back to mine, we can fucking sit down, you'll have to. I'll explain the whole thing to you, right? You dick."
But he's not dead, I hear you cry, because he does all that stuff with the prison and with Bane. Except he doesn't, does he? Like, think about it, okay? What happens after that fight? Bruce is taken to a prison in the ground in an unspecified location in an unspecified country. It's not a real prison, it's hell. He's forced to watch the destruction of Gotham on TV. And the only way out is to climb an impossible wall. It's pure allegory. There's no way this is supposed to be a representation of real life. Meanwhile, what's happening? The people of Gotham, Gordon, Blake, Selina, they're all struggling in what's left of Batman's absence. They're afraid again. And how is fear represented? By a bomb. If taken literally, that mobile bomb that Bane has driving around the city is a ridiculous concept. But it's not meant to be a real bomb. It's fear. But it's not fear of death, but it's fear of life. Fear of leaving your house in the morning being blown to pieces. So why bother living at all? But there is hope, if they remember what Batman represented. And that's what's going on in the prison. It isn't Bruce Wayne literally climbing out of a hole in the ground, but it's the essence of that conversation with Alfred in Batman Begins, rising above the corruption that's left over in The Dark Knight. Okay, think about what happens when he escapes. He seems to magically arrive back in Gotham. What's all that about? It's because he isn't really there. And then he visits all the main players and gives them a pep talk. That isn't happening either. It's just the characters realising that they don't need a physical Batman to save themselves, and that the essence of what he represented is in all of them. Batman doesn't physically do anything in the last act. Selina kills Bane, Blake frees the trapped cops, and Gordon finds the bomb. And then what happens at the end? Batman flies away with the bomb. He takes the fear away. And all of this is happening in a big summer blockbuster that should just be people dressed up in costumes punching each other. That's what's so amazing about it. Well, that's what I thought anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments. And thank you to everyone who helped me make this video. I'll put their links in the description.